We all remember, if you've been around, if you've been alive this long, um, pretty much online communities started with BBS. This is like precursor. This is early days of the internet. I'm going to skip all that because most of you will probably are not in the age range. I really didn't have any experience with that as well. But what I did have a lot of experience with was forums. And what forums are a website that condenses, not condenses, but collects uh, your members' thoughts, their postings, their day to day whatevers, and it pretty much talks about whatever the discussion of that forum particularly might be. It could be a general forum that a lot of topics and discussions happen about all different sorts of topics, or it could be a more specialized where you talk about one particular niche or a topic. Let's say podcasting. There's a few podcasting forums out there that are probably still around. I really forums haven't really have lost a lot of their audience per se with the influx of Facebook and quick, quick hits of social media, networking, stuff like that. And it's kind of like a shame to see that forums haven't have not really claimed or reclaimed what they were before, because one, they are a great resource in getting things together, easily searchable online, that you can post up on Bing or Google or DuckDuckGo or anywhere. And if you want to look for information on one particular subject or something else, most of the times you might find that in a forum. Unfortunately, that has been taken over by Reddit. A lot of the stuff, information, knowledge base of or knowledge for everything that we deal with has kind of been swallowed up by Reddit as like a centralized place. Now, that's not a bad thing per se. It's also could be perceived as a blessing or a curse, really. Um, Especially when we think about what happened with the recent Reddit apocalypse, with it killing off third-party API access and the mod revolt and then purging of mods within many subreddits. And Reddit is not really the place that it once was. It's kind of the information that is being coalesced and presented as facts and as this, here you go, here's your knowledge, is not really the best quality, because the people who took care of the subreddits were unpaid volunteers, and they had the passion and the know-how. I want to say, I'm speaking as plain as possible. I'm not going to go into any like subreddit politics or what is or isn't what should be happening there, but great majority of the unpaid moderators, they were there to help bring their subreddit to life, to keep it, within that niche or whatever topic or whatever or whatever, yeah, whatever niche that they were talking about there. And unfortunately, with recent happenings at Reddit, it's just like I said, it just hasn't been the same since. Now, forums, I'm not going to say that forums were any better, because many of the forums were put together or run by one, two, or maybe a small group of people that had a passion and the know-how to start up an online community with using forums. Now, forums come in different shapes and sizes. There is the free one that is still out there, is PHBB. It's still kicking around. There's also the other one. It's MyBB. It's those two are like the free ones, but unfortunately, their development has slowed quite a lot. There isn't really, because the reason why is because it really isn't any um what's the word excitement for forums anymore. And so the free ones were, again, volunteers of people who are running these projects, and they don't do this as a paid gig. They do this on their free time, and they have a life to live as well. Now, there are paid options that are available for if you are a content creator who wants to set up your own form. Well, there's two different software that I can show you here. One is it's called Zen 4.0. Now, back in the day, we had V Bulletin had their pretty much a monopoly. It wasn't really a monopoly, but it was kind of like the go-to standard for for bulletin boards and forums. And two people who used to work at V Bulletin decided, you know what, the way the company is going, we can do something better, and we can shape something that we can do. So they decided to create Zen 4.0. Now, I've used Zen 4.0 pretty much from the very beginning, and with many different forums and different sites that I've worked on and ran, and then closed up and started new. And it's just going through the whole process of their complete packaging has been getting better and better with each iteration. Now, it's not to say that a paid service is any better than a free service. In fact, it could be a blessing, because not only do you have a paid service that you know you're paying money to, that your customer service aspect is much better because you have more people that are incentivized in making sure the paid product is up to date, is being developed like constantly, it's completely up to date and constantly working on new things. And that's the great thing about using a paid service. Now, when it started, of course, we're talking about many, many, many years ago. It was a lot cheaper than what it is now. I think it's what let's take a quick look into. Let me go to let's see, pricing. So right now, they also offer a cloud, but if we do self-hosted, which means you take the software, you have your own hardware for your hosting, like server, and you can put the software on it, and you're done. It's all you gotta do is pay for it. So it's $160. Now, it wasn't that way before. This is like $160, and it is you have to pay per year if you want continuing support. Now, that means if after your year is done, then that does not mean that you can't use the software anymore. You can. It's just that you won't be able to have access to the updates, security, infrastructure, backbone, whatever you want to call it, kind of updates. So that's one part of you're paying for a software service. Think of it as like a one of these live service type games. You want to get the fancy skins. You want to keep it up to date. Have your battle pass going. I know it's very poor comparison, but think of it as that way, as that this is a software as a service type of thing. Now, like I said, or you had on here before, that they do offer cloud-based hosting, where they take care of the hosting, the server costs, or I should say the server maintenance and everything else. Plus, you have access to the actual software, but it's a little bit more per month. Like the starter here is $60, or if you want to pay annually, $648 annually, it's only $54 a month for the starter plan. What that means is that you get unlimited members and staff, your choice of data centers, add-ons, API, backups daily. You get a 40,000 monthly page views. 400,000 monthly page views, lifetime support, and 50 gigs of data storage. And of course, the complete Zen 4.0 suite. You can also bump it up if you have like a standard, which you get higher numbers of monthly page views. You get a million or 4 million with the business plan. But of course, the higher tiers you go, the higher cost that you have to pay. Now, this is good for someone who looks at it and say, oh, well, I can pay the server cost maybe through Hetzner, and then it was like $7 to $12 a month. Then I have to also make sure I have the domain, which is a yearly fee, which is really it's a non-starter. It's like what, $16 a year. So I usually don't put that into the equation when I look at how much a particular project would cost every month or every year. But with this is that you have them take care of the server. You don't have to worry about any kind of upgrades. You don't have to worry about backups because they do it a backup daily. You don't have to worry about keeping your server secure. They do it. So it's kind of like, you have to weigh the pros and cons for each side of things and how you're going to go from there. Now, there is another company that is within the forum business. This is Envision Powerboard. They started with a free version pretty much same time when in the early days of eBulletin, MyBB, and PHBB, that they started with the paid version. I mean, it started with a free version, sorry. Then they decided, okay, well, we can make some money, make our product a little bit better. So they started going through making some iterations and different versions and coming up with what we see here is their latest Envision community that you have your forums. They have a suite of different modules that you can add into your particular site that you want. Let's see if we go to pricing. Yeah, let's just go to pricing. All right, I'll go to monthly. So, and this is also, they also provide a cloud-based not self-hosted, but a hosted service that you can pay for if you like. And they have a lot more tiers to look over. Like they have their beginner tier, which is at $54 a month, which is cheaper than the starter pack over on Zenforo. But what you get, you only get 100 gigs of storage. You get forum discussions, you get an events calendar, unlimited admin seats. So you can have as many people as admins as you want. You get achievements, you get a possibility if you want to add in a custom domain instead of using envisioncommunity.com / whatever your site's name is. You can be site.com, whatever. So it gives, you don't get as much as you would on Zenforo, because you get a complete suite, which is comprises of the core software and all first party add-ons, including the media gallery, resource manager, and enhanced search. So I think just because it's cheaper, but you can also think how much you're getting on Envision Powerboard, depending on what you get with Zenforo. Now, it's just all opinion based, and everything else is completely how you want to look at it. But forums, I think, are a really great foundation for a community. Really, I think so, because yeah, you can have your Discord server or Guilded or Matrix server, or you can have a Facebook group. But the problem is that you don't own a community. You're subletting in somebody else's domain, pretty much. So say your Discord server, you're subloading your community within Discord itself. Well, who's to say that Discord, for some odd reason, decides, okay, we're changing the rules, and by our new rules, your server no longer follows our rules, and you're done. And all of your history, all of your contacts within your particular community are done. They're gone. You have no control over your actual domain of your community. With a forum, you really do have control. You have access to your membership, your members. You can set up a newsletter by collecting their email address, which is also, it's still very, very important even to this day as we go into 2024. Yes, we're almost there. So we'll get, September, October, November, December. We got like 4.5 months So look out, yeah, 4 months before we go into 2024. So it's kind of like you have to focus on what is better for your community. Now, I'm not saying that forums that everyone should go ahead and start signing up and getting stuff going on a forum. No, it's just depending on how you want your community to run. Is it something that you're going to be comfortable with down the line, or is it something that is just it's a hobby? I'm, I'll look at it later on, or is it actually something that you want to look for as a business? So forums help shape an audience really well because the fact is that you own your community, you own. I shouldn't say you own your members, but your membership is there. It's yours. It's not somebody else's that you're just borrowing them to be in your particular room inside the conference center. And you can collect data from your members and to for good to send out newsletters and other kinds of things that you can post out for them. And it's also really great for audience retention or audience engagement because if you can sit there on your stream or your videos and say, hey, join our community at such and such.com, join our community. We're growing. And when your audience members travel or go to your website and your forums and they say, oh, this is pretty cool. Another nice thing about forums is that it's searchable. SEO is still very important. Yes, it's not as important as it was before, but it is very important in the fact that, if someone searches up widget A, I need help on widget A. Well, if your forum or your site is dedicated to that particular whatever, more chances of your site being seen via search than it was if your community is locked up behind Gilded or let's say Discord or even Matrix. It's just the access of that information and knowledge that is locked up within those particular services or platforms is not as seeable or searchable as it is on a website or a forum that has unfiltered access, unless you have certain sections that are locked up behind a pay gate. But hey, that's up to you.